know if that also happens with you, but you find any reasons to buy a watch. We went from around 70 to 300 watches online. We've manufactured our own spare parts. We've manufactured, for instance, bezels for the Patek Philippe Nautilus. So when I have a new watch and I have a vintage watch, what attracts me more to the vintage watch is that it has lived. It was designed by Gérald Jonta. Just say that we buy what we love. I always heard that you should buy the dealer and not the watch. From our little desk here in Geneva to be able to reach Japan.
Welcome to the Chronedo podcast, the show where we talk about watches, business and life. Today I'm speaking with Oliver from Geneva, who first joined WatchSpare as an intern and now plays a key role in developing the business. What began as a niche platform for sourcing rare vintage components has grown into a digital spare parts library. If you're into craftsmanship, collecting, or want to know how the watch world works behind the scenes, this one's for you. Enjoy listening.
So my name is Oliver and I'm 24 years old. I was born in London but raised here in Geneva. I studied economics here at the University of Geneva. And in 2020, I started working, I found myself in a little auction house working as a viewing assistant. And from there, it was the first time where I came across watches, and it really became kind of a big deal for me because I was like, wow, how come so many people are around this industry and I'm not accustomed to it. And so I got intrigued and I did more auctions, and I got a hold of the watchmaker who was working there, and he explained to me that he had a business that was in the spare part industry and the watches. And it was kind of the first e-commerce website specialized in the vintage spare parts. During my studies, I wasn't very academic, so I was always working on the side. I never really followed my classes, so I always tried to find jobs on the side, try to a bit get more on-field experience rather than just following my classes. And I told him that I would be really interested in helping the business grow. And just for me, it was kind of the first step I could get into the industry. And I saw a door and I just tried to knock at it. So he told me that he was also interested, and I explained to him that I was still studying, but I could do that part-time. And so, yeah, it all started like this.
You started part-time here?
I started part-time, yeah. I started as an intern.
Yes.
So it was my first time really working in the industry. Before I had worked in different companies, also a part-time journalism studies, but it was more into the economics field and not completely surrounded by my passion, because it became really my passion today. And so, yeah, it's all started like this. And now for 2 weeks ago, it marked my 7th year here. So
wow.
Really good experience so far. So we totally focus now on sourcing spare parts. And in the second time, we also have watches. Our watches selection really developed well. But our main idea was really to create a national library of the spare parts.
If a person listening that has no knowledge about the industry at all, can you tell us how or why this business exists? Why do not brands sell these spare parts, or do they sell? I don't know.
Yeah. So it's something very interesting because brands today tend to tell you to come back to their manufacturers if you have any problem, if you need to go through a service. Watchmaking today is much more surrounded by the big brands and less by the smaller watchmakers. And here today, so WatchSpare was launched by an independent watchmaker that has restored and repaired many watches during his career. And he wanted to give to other watchmakers in the world that are also independent the opportunity to repair any watches that they had on their workbench. And so during his years, he accumulated a huge pile of spare parts. And the industry, I think you also came across many of people that are like that. It's kind of, the industry is really based on sharing knowledge, sharing the passion, and not really keeping your information regarding the craftsman side. And so he decided to share the spare parts he had in excess that he did not need. And Watch Spare is kind of a platform where it's really, we like to use the word library, because when someone needs an information, he goes to the library and it's open to everyone. So Watch Fair is kind of that. It's an open bookstore where someone is searching for an information he can get, because we also
that's public on the internet,
exactly,
on your website.
Exactly. Many of our calibers that we sell, we add on the side the technical sheet from the brand. So really, any watchmaker that is trying to restore a watch from the 30s, 40s, 50s, he can really see based on the brand's documents, okay, well, this is the part I need. And so, yeah, this is kind of the thing that we offer to watchmakers around the world.
But what do you think, what advantage does a customer of you, or no, I think your customers are watchmakers, right? Not end consumers.
Exactly. We're mainly focused on the watchmakers. But now it's true that as we launched also watches, we have also end customers that come here. And it also happens that many customers contact us and tell us, look, I have this watch. I would like to get it serviced. I see that you have the spare parts here, and we can refer to the company that works with us. Or he tells us, my watchmaker cannot find the spare part, but do you think you're able to find it? And this is a kind of an adventure for us, and we try to find it for the client. So it really depends. But it's true that mainly the spare parts are sold to watchmakers.
Oh, okay. And the brands, do they sell the spare parts to these watchmakers too, or not? You know, once I had a problem with my vintage Breitling, and I brought it to the watchmaker.
Yeah.
Do you think he ordered the parts maybe from your shop or directly from the brand? You know, in which case does he has to order on your website, and when does he order it on the brand?
Me, I really don't know how it works with that regarding the brands. I just have the idea. I know that watchmakers can get certifications by brands.
Yes, and then they are allowed to order.
Exactly.
Oh, that's why.
So that's maybe possible, I think, also.
And here, a watchmaker can order it anytime. He doesn't need to have a certificate.
Exactly.
That's great.
Also cool.
Yeah.
Because if someone wants to order a spare part from any brand and they ask a certification, but he doesn't have it, well, we can have it online for him. Okay. So really, it's the word library is really the big kind of motto of us, is really for someone that is seeking for information, he can find it with us, and for him really to complete his restoration or his service for a customer. So,
and how do you source the watch spare part?
So it's kind of out of all the different outputs. We go either on social media or we go to fairs ourselves. It happens more into us going through directly to a source through Switzerland or fairs, and we get to know people just phone us and they tell us, okay, look, I'm closing my workshop. I have a huge pile of spare parts. Are you interested? And if he offers us that, then we can come and have a look. And we, depending on what he has, we can make an offer, or we take the stock he has. So really, it's something to really get a hold of, and which is important in the spare parts industry, is that the spare part we have today, in maybe 30 years, we won't have it anymore, because these are spare parts from the 60s, 70s, 40s. They aren't manufactured today. So really, we have the source, we have the offer, and the demand is just going higher because it gets more difficult to find those spare parts, and almost impossible to find them in such a good condition. So yeah, it's a really interesting business to be working in.
Quick 15-second ad. Hi, I'm Ken from the Chronedo podcast. I want to let you know that you can join our community, the Chronedo Circle, for exclusive giveaways, behind the scenes, and key takeaways from every episode. Sign up for free at chronedo.com/community. So these parts are all original.
Yeah, exactly. They're all original.
But sometimes is it not necessary to produce a new part, because it's not maybe available or you can't find it?
Yeah. So this are
Does that happen?
this does happen. Here we have the tools that allows us to get all the entire data to do those type of processes. And it happens that we have done it, that we need to do, but it's really rare because we normally always have the spare part with us. And so it's maybe, I think this question we should ask it again maybe in like 10 or 15 years when the demand will be much higher, because people will be servicing more their watches.
And there is no supply anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's the thing is, me, when I process orders, I see like I take, for instance, a wheel, and maybe last month I had 5 wheels, and I sent the 4 wheels away, and then I'm sending the last one, and I'm like, wow, I have no more spare part. I don't have this wheel anymore. So what am I gonna do? I need to find it, and I need to source it. So so this is kind of the thing is challenging. So it's also stressful when you start selling a lot of spare parts, and you're like, okay,
you're in the future.
Exactly, you're in and it gets harder and harder. So yeah, and but luckily we really have a great environment here to be able to do any repairs and any sourcing for spare parts. We can do that. So it's.
And what kind of spare parts do you offer? Is it the whole range, like movement parts for sure, but also any cases or straps, bracelets? I don't know.
Yeah. So cases and straps, not yet. We're still developing a lot. We have still a full storage that needs to be inventorized. So cases will come next. I know our next product is hands. We found beautiful hands that we're going to make available on our website soon.
Nice. Yeah.
And spare parts for quartz movements, and because this is something important, that quartz movement needs servicing. People don't realize, they think that it's only
one battery, and
they just think it's a battery change that needs, but no, there's the entire circuits and that needs to be clean. And if the circuit is not correct anymore, the watch doesn't work correctly. So yeah, it's so next is our hands, and yes, we're looking to develop more towards cases, straps, and yeah, and so on. We're really trying to make the website WatchSpare really a huge marketplace for watchmakers, but also end clients that can find anything regarding watchmaking on the website. This is our prime objective.
And what's the price range of these parts? So I really don't have any idea, what that costs for a watchmaker. That question would be stupid, but
no, totally no. It's important. It's also something really important to mark, is that to manufacture a spare part, it's very expensive. At first, I did not have the idea that I thought like manufacturing a screw would cost maybe 5 francs, 10 francs, 20 francs, 50 francs.
Not a lot of material.
Exactly, but there's the entire research behind, all the engineers, all the data, the dimensions, the material that you need to be able to develop a spare part. It can cost around 10 to 15,000 Swiss francs. So it's a huge investment to take into account. So really, our range of prices, for instance, the first screws, they're around 17 francs. And we can go up to 900 francs for a plate. And yeah, it's really...
It depends also on the brand.
Exactly. Depends on the brand, depends on the caliber, because some calibers are more known than others. And also, the thing to take into account is that there's the entire process behind of scanning the spare part, working on it and making sure that when we send the spare part, it's in perfect condition and ready to be added to a restoration. When you take into account all the work that has been put in behind, research, finding it, working on the spare part, making sure that when we send it, the spare part is not broken, I know this also comes to justify also the price.
I can imagine that it's really difficult to set the price for a spare part, right? I can imagine you have to do always market research. You have to see the prices on other, or how do you calculate that? That's really hard.
Yeah, the question is exactly how. That was my first question when I started. How do you price a screw?
Yeah.
How do you price a wheel? I mean, like, it's something that, you know, especially I don't have any background in the field, so I really had no idea. And this is really so the watchmaker Nicolas Comagna that works with me, he helps me price those screws. He tells me, for instance, a screw that he knows he all the time he repaired this type of watch. He knows that this screw is broken and needs always replacement. He can value approximately the price because he will know. Okay, well, this screw, one out of three, it always breaks.
Yes, so it's a high demand there.
Exactly.
And
so this is how it happens. But also always it's important is that all the spare parts that we offer are all backed by the watchmaker. So really it's not something to rest assured. It's not like, for instance, me 100% who just tells me like, okay, I want to put this price on the screw, like, because I know it values like that, but I have no clue because I'm not a watchmaker. I cannot give a value on something that I don't 100% comprehend. It's the watchmaker that needs to give me his, like, okay, I know that this amounts, this value, the value of this the spare part is this much, so like this.
And why do you give out these informations for free, your library and everything, you know? Why don't you sell like a subscription or something?
Well, because the thing is that really comes all back to the first point is that the main objective for us, the perspective is to share.
That's nice.
Really, we don't want to be seen as, well, it's not seen, but we don't want to be gatekeeping information where we can just share it to people.
I love them, yeah.
And this is the objective because, you know, behind every watch, there's someone that's restoring it.
Yes.
Taking his own time to give love into the movement and to really be like, okay, I want to make the movement work so the customer can enjoy it on the wrist. So why should we try to gatekeep those informations and to block others from restoring it? It's not our objective.
I like that. I think you respect the art and the watchmaking itself, you know, otherwise for others it would be more difficult.
Exactly.
To keep the art alive, you know, so with your help, others can keep the art alive.
Totally. That's our objective is that we really want to, it's a world where we share when it's our objective to just really keep it working, keep it going. For instance, we sell spare part to someone, but maybe after us, we also need a spare part and we can ask also the watchmaker that bought the spare part from us, like, hey, do you have the spare part available? He's like, yes, and then we exchange and then we create a connection. And this is kind of important.
And where do the buyers come from?
They come worldwide. They're national. It's all around the world. This is really cool. It's every Monday morning, it's kind of the surprise is where am I sending a spare part?
And that's not a challenge, you know, with the taxes and the custom handlings, and
that's totally a challenge because also people are very preserving. They're very afraid regarding the taxes, the import duties that they have to pay. Because if you have to pay import duties on a second wheel on just a little spare part, it's kind of. But I mean, the thing is that people order from us, but they know that they get the service behind. Yes. They get a good spare part and they rest assured, okay, maybe I'll be paying importing fees for that will amount maybe to 30 or 50 francs. But at least I'm getting something that is good, well packaged, and entirely ensured that it's working correctly, rather than just that's.
But is there a country which you sell the most to, you know, or?
Well, Actually, now spare parts, I would say a lot to US and Canada. There have been many, and also France.
Okay.
So those are three main a bit countries.
And Asia?
And Asia also. We also sell more a bit regarding watches. We sell more towards Asia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yes, we sell really, it's worldwide.
Okay.
It's my next objective is to have the map and the pinpoint all the time where I've sent an order, because it's amazing, you know, from our little desk here in Geneva to be able to reach Japan, Canada, USA by just sending a screw or a second wheel or a winding stem. It's amazing. It's just a cool feeling, you know. Me also, what I have when I send a spare part, I'm telling myself like, okay, I'm helping a watchmaker out on his restoration and his repairs, and it's a cool thing, and I really like that be able to help in that way. So by providing the spare part
and how did that business evolved into a vintage watch business? You know, selling and buying watches.
So it's all first started. We started taking watches from clients, so as consignments, and we would add a little margin to be able to take some little profit. But I think
so that means you sold it for your clients.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. And where? On your online shop or
Directly on online shop, but also on Chrono24.
Okay. Yes.
We're certified dealers there, and you can imagine that selling screws, second wheels, winding stands, I mean, all spare parts, you cannot really make a living out of it. You have to pay for employees, you have to pay for rent, you have to pay for additional spare parts that you want to add, you have to pay for development. There are many costs to it. And when we thought about watches, we were seeing ourselves making a bit more margin and being able to develop at a higher rate, which was much more interesting for us. And so since I think 2023, we started really working a lot on the watches section. And today, well, from a year ago, so 2024 to 2025, we went from around 70 to 300 watches online.
You have online
Exactly.
300 watches?
300 watches. And
but it's a mix of your watches and client watches.
Exactly. So we really continue also to do consignments, but we started developing our own inventory, which is really cool. Then
Yes.
And we, as collectors, also our objective was to buy a bit selection that was pleasing for us personally first. That's why when people go through our selection and when they come here at the office, they tell us, "I never seen the selection anywhere else." I mean, it's so versatile and so different. It's so unusual. And we just say that we buy what we love, and we're happy to have it. So it's kind of fun because all the time the door rings, we have a delivery, and we're like so happy because it's like Christmas for us. We're like, we bought a watch that we love and that we'll be able to give out to someone. And yeah, so it's we developed on that side. So yeah.
But for a client, I've never sold a watch over a watchmaker, you know. I think for the buyer, it makes totally sense to buy it from you. I would trust you as a vintage watch expert. You know, you sell watch spare parts, so you are the best expert you can be. You know,
well, the expert is more the watchmaker.
Yeah, but but you as a company, you know, I would fully trust
that's
to buy
also
from you and not from somebody else, some private persons. You know, it's a high risk to buy something that isn't working well, or
that is also something that also is added value, is that as we have our spare parts and also the watchmakers here, the selection that we offer all the time, before we send out a watch, it's back on the workbench and it's being fully checked by our watchmaker to ensure that the client receives a watch that keeps time well and that it's working perfectly fine. So it's a really cool experience to get it from us, is because really you get the entire, the full package. And often when a watch doesn't work, where we have the spare part. So it's something cool. And it's also sometimes an argument that I use when I have a client meeting that is looking, for instance, to a Universal Genève, and he's very interested, and the question comes up is like, yeah, but if I want to service it, how do I do? Where can I find the spare parts? And I just, well, we have the spare parts. So
that's
so
perfect
cool.
situation. Yeah.
Exactly. So you come back to us, and then we'll make the service, and no issue. No. So yeah.
But what would you recommend to somebody that wants to buy a vintage watch? For example, I have a friend. He asked me he wants to buy a vintage Rolex. They just with the year where he was born. So he has, I think, 1989.
Okay.
And he sent me a link to Bucherer certified pre-owned watches.
Yeah.
He asked me, do you think that makes sense to buy the watch there? So what would you answer to that question?
So the question is, how would you need to buy a watch? Is that did I?
Or how do you, if you know you want to buy a vintage Rolex, for example, he wants to have his year, So what would you suggest to these persons? How they should buy or find the watch like that?
I always heard that you should buy the dealer and not the watch.
Is it? I think it's true.
I think it's also true, and it's often cool because, for instance, I take us as an example, but we can take many others. But when you come to here, you see that there's, as you've seen, many workbenches, watchmakers that are working currently. So you can be ensured that the watch is in good hands and that it's not given away to someone else that we don't know or something like that. My recommendation, I think, it's really to get as much as experience as possible. So to go and see different dealers, and how do you feel also? For instance, how do you connect also with the person in front of you? This would be a good insight if you feel comfortable or not. After, really, regarding the service that you get, if you pay a certain amount of money, and what do you get in return? Is the watch correctly? Is it correct? Has it been serviced? Were they polishing done on the case? Important information to search for, and yeah, it's really by the dealer. That's something cool. It's important to always tell to the customers is you need to feel comfortable with the person with who you're exchanging before buying any watches.
But if you do not have any experience with buying watches, especially vintage watches, are there any questions I could ask a watchmaker or watch dealer, to find out if it's the right one or not? Is there a trick? Or
I think
I don't know, maybe there is no, but
me personally, like for my own as a collector, before purchasing any watches, I always browse the internet for like 24/7, like nonstop.
Yes.
I'm typing the reference, I'm searching for the model, history of the brand, trying to find things that are interesting. Okay, like why was it made in, which years was it made? Why is the caliber like this? Searching for information. I think my first recommendation, before, even if you don't know the watch industry and you don't know anything about vintage, could be just to browse internet. We have an amazing tool to be able
Google.
to Google that
YouTube.
that gives you amazing information. There are many watch enthusiasts that shares also their collecting journey, which is very interesting to see. For me, it's I love watching videos about dealers, collectors that are just sharing their passion online. That I think also reflects our objective and my objective that I put with Watch Spare. It's really because I see them share, and I also want to share what we have and what I can offer. So yeah, it's really get as much as information as possible online, and ask as much as possible, as much questions as possible.
Mm-hmm.
This is really important. The questions, I think there are never enough questions. Even the most dumb question ends up to be the best question, because you wanted something to be clear in your mind, and you just ask it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, this is kind of
Interesting. Yeah.
it's really the watchmaking industry is so huge. It keeps evolving. There was a lot of things that happened in the industry, and I think we all know like maybe a little part of it. And the more you dig into an information, it opens you another door, and it gets much more interesting. So it's really it also like this, that for me personally, it started growing the passion for watches, because I realized that it was linked to history.
Yes.
And then, I mean, this history linked to this brand, and the brand made this watch, but this watch was inspired by that. I mean, with the patents and all the people that were involved in the development. I mean, it's such a huge, and rich culture industry.
Yes.
That I mean, it's the best way possible is just to be curious.
Mm-hmm.
Really, if you're curious enough, and that you want to take time to be able to take a good decision, and that you want to search for any information, I mean, it's the best advice I would give.
If somebody who's listening wants to buy a specific vintage watch, could he or she ask you to search and buy and then sell the watch to?
Yeah, so we don't offer much about like a service regarding sourcing watches.
Okay.
But we have collectors that come with the selections, and that you can also feel free to ask us if you have a specific watch in mind. You can ask us, and I have a little booklet next to my next to my desk, where I reference all the emails and the reference numbers of the watches that they're searching for. And all the time when I go to fairs, or like I see a watch that maybe I wrote down and that I try to remember, okay, I know to who was searching for this watch. Yes. And I can try to link.
So that's amazing. Yeah.
So, yeah. It was an interesting story. It was in January this year. There was a really good client of ours that he sent us a message telling us that he was searching for a specific watch. It was a Audemars Piguet. And it happened that when he sent out this message, the following day there was an auction, and there was this watch there, and we're like, hey, we found the watch, like it's I mean, we don't have it, but we did not search for it, but it fell just right in front of us. Like, I mean, it's here and it's in good condition. Are you interested? And the client was like, yes. So it was a good find. Like, we did not source it, but it came to us, and so we managed to source a watch for a client, and it was a really cool story to do. So yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. And I would have one question about when you sell watches for your clients. I can imagine that's pretty hard to know, because you already pay a fee to Chrono24 if you sell it through Chrono24.
Yeah, exactly.
So your clients need to understand you need to earn somehow money.
Yeah.
So do they understand the fee structure? And
they totally understand. It's something that we're also very transparent about. When someone approaches us to tell us, I would like to consign a watch with you, directly we explain to the client that it works like this, and that there are fees, and that's why we add a certain percentage, and that's why there is also it happens like this. And so I've never had any bad experience regarding client. It was like, I don't understand why.
Yes,
but
okay, that's good.
Yeah, so it's really cool. We've been very lucky. Touch wood.
Yes.
So
it stays like that.
Stays like that, and but no, it's really been a good experience so far, and being able to get watches on consignment is also cool, because you develop your catalog and you see different watches that you're not used to seeing. And
it's interesting to get these watches into your hand. And
totally, yeah.
Do they go through a service every time you?
So all the time before accepting consignment watches, they are all checked with the watchmaker. So they're all opened, and we check if they need anything, any service, any change of spare parts, if there's any issues, and this before any consignment, we tell to the client, like, okay, the watch has to have a service, so we're gonna do it to be able to present to our clients a watch that is in working condition. Sorry, so we're gonna do the service, but take into account that we've taken this cost on our side and not on the clients.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's really cool because when we have an order, what happens is, like, I can run through the processes. That,
Yes.
okay, so I receive an order, I take the watch out, and I bring it directly to the workbench of the watchmaker. And so the watchmaker will open entirely the watch, check in everything, do the entire checks, and then he'll give it back to me and tell me, okay, well, it needed a change. And then after the checks are done, I can proceed with the shipment, and I'll ship up the watch with a 6-month warranty. And in case there's anything that happens to the watch, regarding it doesn't keep time well, then it doesn't hold the entire the power reserve, it doesn't hold correctly. Okay, so we'll take back the watch and we'll do an entire check again to make sure that the product that the client receives is in good working condition. So yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's really, our objective is really for our customers to, once they order a watch with us, as soon as they open the package, they can put the watch on their wrist and continue with their lives. They don't have to worry, like, okay, like, I received my watch, I should take it to the watchmaker for him to check it out. I mean, I don't know if you had the same experience, but me, when I buy watches like on Ricardo or different platforms, as soon as I receive it, I'm like, okay, try to open the back to see the movement, how it looks, and then you see a screw that is flying around, and you're like, okay, no, I'm just going to close my eyes.
Yeah.
Bad experience.
Yes, that's a bad experience.
So with us, our objective is really, so as soon as you receive the package, you can open, you receive the nice watch with the 6-month warranty and a picture of the DNA of the watch, and then you can directly wear it and have no issue with it.
Second and last ad. If you want to support this podcast and get a free gift, go to chronedo.com/support, or simply follow me on Instagram or YouTube and share this episode with your friends. I'd truly appreciate it.